Welcome to the Meta Minute. This is talking about the first week of season 41. We're trying to do a very quick breakdown without going into a lot of details about what happened in the first week of GAC. I got a bunch of stats to look at here with you, well, to show you the stats that I looked at. This is about 10% of what I checked out. Fascinating season. In general, the continuation of what's been going on for the last few months, last few seasons, where it's rock, paper, scissors. So it's changed a little bit this season with the 3v this 3v3 season in particular. Now that we don't have set 7 in, so we have set 8 and set 9 together. At a non-GL level, there's a huge amount of counters available for everything. Not a bunch of new ones, to be honest. Although there are some new interesting ones with Tarfool, for instance, or Saw even is a pretty strong character, but there's so little data available. There's a lot of things I think that those two characters can work against, or can be used against them, or used against other things, but no one's tested it, or no one's tried it out. So it's hard to give any empirical results on that. But at a GL level, it's much simpler. So last 3v3 season was about Jabba and to some lesser extent Rey. However, that has almost totally changed here. In some ways, it is still about Jabba, but there's a lot of ways to two-shot Jabba. And for many people, that's quite viable. But if you're trying to one-shot Jabba or a variety of other teams, the meta sort of boils down to how you use SLKR and Lord Vader, or excuse me, and JMK. Because for instance, we'll talk about this a little bit. We look at Lord Vader stats. Those two GLs are the only units that can one-shot quite a wide variety of teams. So depending on how you try and pull those two units to be used against your defense can give you a significant advantage. Or if your opponent doesn't do that at all, you don't make use of probably the most interesting part of the entire meta here. For instance, I would say like a lot of it has to do with Malgus, and it's related to datacrons as well, the 15% and like the Malgus ability block, the Sith ability block. Anyway, let's go start into the details. So Finn and Zori, I see a lot of people talking about this. This is a very easy team to beat. This is like the most common comp here. This is assuming they have a good 15%. There are so many teams that beat it relatively easily. Now, most of them, Tuscans are a good option too. Most of them, there's probably like 10 teams that you see beating most other non-GL level teams. So it's important to consider where you use yours. Finn and Zori is very good. So here we go straight to Malgus. Look at what Malgus with a level 6 Sith ability block does. It effectively shuts down C unless there's Watt. And Watt is relatively valuable in this 3v3 season. So even C plus 2 others probably will win, but it's not a guaranteed thing for sure. And this is just with Malgus and Darth Revan. Some different things work with Malak, some with Bastila, some make it easier or harder or whatever. It's more important to be fast, to be honest, because then you have more chances to apply ability block to C when he's alone. Again, with Watt, it doesn't matter. Without Watt, it does make it more complicated. So that's very interesting. The zombie datacron is quite interesting. So here we have only looking with zombie with the level 7 or the level 9 as a requirement, a variety of different leads, different other members, etc. You see a lot of 100s, but it's because I haven't filtered by lead or third member of the team. But in general, it's quite valuable. There's just very little data on it. It can be hard countered. Like there's some things that just shut it down. Like Night Sisters against Night Sisters generally tend to work pretty well if you have a higher DPS Night Sister team. Darth Revan is great with the fears, of course Treya. You see a lot of 100s here. Gas is good, but if you only look, there's one battle, and look at the banners. 54, 50, 50, 50, 53. Not great banners. So underutilized, quite good level 9. Very interestingly here, and this ties into the um, Lord Vader, the JFK and SLK, and related to that Lord Vader and Ray. So this is Ray Ben Malik. This is back now, probably because Starkiller is like the easiest way to kill almost all of the Ray teams now, with the exception of Ray Ben Malik. So if you do use Ray Ben Malik, very easy to beat with Lord Vader, solo most of the time, or with JMK trio. And Ray obviously mirrors. You can do Ray, Ben, something else, and a few other little things like some funny C armor, GBA, etc. But generally, it's SLK and Lord Vader that beat this. But this is a very good comp on defense. I expect to see it a lot more now that we're out of set 7, which had all the resistance benefits. One of the things also that helps to stop Ray versus, oh, I don't have a little thing for that. It's hard to sort and insight. Stop Ray versus Starkiller teams is just the offense stat in set 9. So it's very popular to beef her up. I think that's a common like territory war or 5v5 or anything like make Ray beefy. It doesn't really do anything against Starkiller and GAC. Just takes a little bit longer to kill her, but it doesn't change the counter mechanically. Like you don't time out against Ray in 3v3 with Starkiller. However, if you add in more offense, normally Ray, even an R9 well modded, high offense modded Ray cannot kill Emperor Palpatine with her first sudden whirlwind. However, if you give her like 20 or 30% offense, she will kill Palpatine with her first sudden whirlwind. And when that happens, and Starkiller only has like 25, 30 stacks, the counter's over. So this is the main failure point I'm seeing with Ray comps. That's very interesting. So this is Old Republic with Bastilla's level 9. Pretty good comp. You see there's not much that beats it here. It's basically Darth Revan, Gas, Traya, of course. A few other, 1 or 2 attempt things that you're seeing. I didn't sort by relic levels here, just by the level 9. So quite a strong team, but you give up JKR and you give up Bastilla. And as you'll see in a little bit here, Bastilla can be valuable in other places. So everyone's forgetting, like LV, if you put him with the prot up, you can kill him with Fennec Grease Bam. You can also kill him with Boba in there, even in 3s. It requires a bit more technical play. You have to play correctly. And you can do it against Thrawn, you can do it against Maul, but not against both. But the best Lord Vader comp, the only Lord Vader comp you should be placing on defense is Vader, Thrawn, Maul. I mean, in this case, you only have the option, basically, of SLKR. Nothing else has a reliable way of beating it. JMK, you can still do it with, for sure. And certainly with the 15% datacron on JMK, it's a bit easier. But if you're going to place Lord Vader on defense, almost any other comp will get eaten by Fennec. Or if you put in the 4% and makes Fennec a little bit harder, you can throw in SLK against it and again beat it easily. But this is the best Lord Vader comp, and for some reason, people don't place it. Maul is not great in 3s. Thrawn, there's some counters that use Thrawn versus Third Sister, but Traya, Savage, Saya, or DN is so easy there. Anyway. Another one that's sort of popular at the high end, but it's not really amazing. Seer as a lead is quite good, but if you put like Seer, Cal, Ahsoka, Tunnel, Fulcrum, that you can like bad batch it on auto. It doesn't matter what datacrons are in play, so that's worthless. If you put in like this one right here, Seer, ATF, and KRU, which requires a bit more technical stuff. Like even Trey doesn't have a great chance to win. A decently modded Qui-Gon Jinn team can do well. JKR is great. Although if you use JKR on defense or on offense, there's some interesting little dynamics here. Gas is not 100% either, which is interesting. So in my mind, also you have like boss that can do pretty well against it. This is a nice boss comp. Sorry, where's the good boss? Oh yeah, the classic boss comp here is quite good. This one is a bit of an outlier, but there's some interesting options there. Um, or against most of the comps, if you use Fennec, Grief, and Mando, you'll do very well. So there's a lot of options here to kill the Seer team, but it assumes that there's other things going on, which is interesting. Then this is a revived classic here. Probably, I think this, if you put this in Lord Vader, the good one with Thrawn and Maul on defense, you have some very interesting setups. So this is Bast JML Watt. The Bast level 9 really makes no difference to the stats here. But the only way you can really counter this with any effectiveness is SLKR or JMK. So if you put Lord Vader and this on defense, that is a very, very tough defense to get through. Yes, there's two shot options. This, you can kill Watt with Han and Chewie and probably Dash, and then it's much easier to clean up afterwards with C or something like that. But look at this. When you have, this is with the 15% Crown, by the way. When you have the 15% Crown in there, C just doesn't cut it. Possibly, yes, sometimes with everything being relative, you have some great crit damage set on C and he's really fast, and you know, anything's a possibility. But broadly speaking, this is a great comp, and you need JMK or SKR to beat it. It's funny to have this back, even at the top levels. That's about it for teams and units. Fleet. So the Fury Interceptor, Fury class Interceptor is here, and yeah, it does make the anti-profundity counter almost autoable, which is nice, but it doesn't really change much else. I mean, it removes some RNG and that's about it. And it's only going to last for about a month until we have Leviathan. Datacron wise, the Sith level 6, ability blocked out, and retribution are all fantastic. Even cleanse is nice for C. Like it can be a way for C to do better against the Malgus comp with ability block. Just equip your cleanse, and you'll probably get a time where you can use your big kaboom and not be ability blocked and stuck. So fantastic in that regard. I think actually more interesting in this, even more than the 15%, which has a relatively low impact 3v3. Like the 15% only changes a few teams in terms of what other teams counter them. Really, it's true. It makes some counters, like edge counters may not work as well when the 15% is in, but like the core 10 counters will still work just as well. But the really interesting ones are defense, of course. Everybody knows that's an incredibly OP stat. But offense, like on Rey or on offense, is very interesting on the Reva teams. Seen some interesting setups with that, along with defense. In general, that is one of the most like underlooked stats in threes, because usually people don't tech to fight against high offensive teams on defense in threes. So people are surprised. Protection, of course, is great. Yeah, 15%. And really, I'm surprised how little, like the Bast comp is a good example of where the 15% makes a huge difference. But besides that, there's not a lot. I mean, yeah, for edge counters or off-tier counters, it definitely can make a difference. But still, Fennec still beats all the Lord Vaders except the one difficult comp. So, yeah, quite interesting to see how that all plays out. Take the time to check the stats. This was longer than 10 minutes, but I hope not too long. I'll try and keep it shorter next time. The goal is really less than 10 minutes. Good luck, have fun, and cheers.